I don't want to teach you how to follow a recipe. I want to teach you how to make good bread. Today I'm going to be talking about the reason I don't give my flour measurements in grams. I have here two cookbooks. This cookbook is from 1938, and this is an Amish cookbook that I have practically worn out. I love this cookbook, and I want to show you some things in these recipes that will help you understand what I'm talking about. So first of all, let's go. I have a couple of pages here flagged. And these old cookbooks, this cookbook, like I said, is from 1938. It's the American Woman's Cookbook. I love old cookbooks. I collect them, the really old ones, like before 1960 especially. And the reason I love them is these cookbooks had the same goal that I have, and that is teaching someone how to cook, not giving them a recipe to follow and a picture of what it looks like, but actually teaching them how to cook, because the recipe is a guide, and the recipe will help you understand what you're doing. But especially in some recipes, it's not about the measurement. It's about other things along the way. Here in this book, under the chapter of yeast breads, it has a little section here that says proportions of flour and liquid in dough. It says for the 1 cup of liquid, use approximately 3 cups of flour. This proportion varies widely because of differences in the absorptive powers of different flours. A good bread flour will take up more water than a poor bread flour. Flour, except gram or whole wheat, should always be sifted before being measured. Now remember, this was back in 1938. So sifting flour was very important back then. You really don't have to worry about that now unless you're making a delicate pastry. But we need to keep in mind that those 3 cups of flour they're talking about were sifted. And when you sift flour, it will measure differently. Then I want to turn over here to an actual recipe. This is a standard recipe for white bread, and it gives the ingredients that are listed. And then when it comes to sifted flour, it says 6 to 8 cups of sifted flour, enough to make a dough. 6 to 8 cups, that's a big difference. 6 cups weighs much less than 8 cups. But notice it has in parentheses, enough to make a good dough, because this book is trying to teach you how to make a good bread dough. And also I want to read here when you're mixing it up. It says add flour to make a stiff batter, beating well. Add flour enough to make a firm but not stiff dough. That's how much flour you add. Not 6 cups, not 8 cups, but enough flour to make a firm but not stiff dough if you want to make this bread recipe. Now, this cookbook is my Amish cookbook that I use, and if you were to look closely at it, you would see lots of stains and of course flags and different things, and some of the pages might be a little torn because I use it all the time. But this is my favorite bread recipe that I have marked here. The recipe I want to talk about here is this sourdough bread recipe. Now, this recipe, I don't make this recipe. This recipe makes 4.5 dozen loaves of bread. And it gives the amounts of ingredients, all except the flour. And when you read in the directions, it says, gradually add enough flour to make bread dough consistency. So it expects you to know what bread dough consistency should be. And in parentheses, it says not too dry, rather on the soft side. So it doesn't even give you a measurement of how much flour that you should put in the recipe. This is a teaching channel, not primarily a recipe channel. Recipes are the vehicle we use to cook our food, but the goal is understanding what you're doing. And many times in older recipes, flour measurements were not given in cups or grams. I'm not saying none of them were, but a lot of them weren't, because they knew that it was not an exact measurement. So many things can play a role in how much flour you need, because different kinds of flour absorb different amounts of water. The humidity in the air can cause your flour to measure differently. The way you put the flour into the measuring cup can change how much flour is in that cup. Did you sift it? Did you spoon it into the cup? Or did you scoop it out of the container? All of these things make big differences in how much is in that cup. So there's two things you need to understand about measuring for this purpose. Is a cup measures volume, whereas grams measure weight. And volume does not always equal the same amount of weight. 1 cup of anything can vary in how many grams that is. And although there are some standards in how much a cup should weigh, it could vary by country or just whoever is giving you that. I know that King Author, on their website, they tell us that a standard cup should weigh 120 grams. Well, that may not be the case for other places. That's the standard they have set. But they have tested, hopefully they have tested their recipes using 120 grams for each cup. But someone else who is giving you a recipe, 120 grams may not be what their cup weighs. It may weigh heavier, and most likely it does, because I don't know personally a lot of people who spoon or sift their flour into the measuring cup. Most people I know, and even a lot of people that I watch on YouTube, scoop their flour out of a container. Now, did they stir that flour around before they scooped it out? Is it really settled and packed into the container, which would give you a heavier cup? I know, because I have measured some of my cups before to see, and I know that my cups weigh more than 120 grams. And you will find some of my past recipes where, out of pure pressure, I did give grams for how much was supposed to be in a cup. But you know what? I don't know that that was correct, and it most likely was not, because I was trying to do a conversion. And it's very difficult to convert a volume 1 cup of flour into grams when you didn't weigh it yourself, because it could weigh different amounts. And I get a lot of comments frequently about, I wish you would post your recipes in grams. The reason I don't do that is because I don't weigh my flour when I'm baking my bread, and I probably am not giving you the correct amount. So to avoid being incorrect, which every time I have given grams in a recipe, I get more comments about how that is not, like I may say, such and such grams of flour or 3 cups. And then the comments will pour in, that is not what 3 cups of flour weighs. Okay, I get it. I understand where you're coming from, but you've got to understand I'm not weighing my flour. And it's just not something that comes natural for me, living in the U.S., growing up, measuring my flour by volume all my life. That's what comes natural to me. And I also know that it's not about the exact amount of flour that you put into a recipe that gives you a good loaf of bread. If you look at my troubleshooting playlist, you will see how I constantly reinforce the concept that you need to know what that dough ball looks like and feels like, because that is the key to having a wonderful loaf of bread, not how much flour you put in. So if you put the exact amount of weight that a recipe calls for in flour, and your dough ball is soupy or your dough ball is super dry, just because you followed that recipe to a T does not mean you're going to get good bread. You've got to learn what that dough ball is supposed to look like. Also, did you know that bread flour, 1 cup of bread flour weighs differently than 1 cup of whole wheat flour or a fine pastry flour? Even all-purpose flour sometimes can weigh differently, because it depends on how fine it's ground, and also those other factors that I already mentioned on how much a cup would weigh. And there are different standards for how much a cup should weigh. What I would like to teach people who want to make bread in the bread machine or in the stand mixer is not to follow a recipe to a T when it comes to how much flour, but to learn what that dough ball should look like and feel like, because that's what's important. You could technically make bread without any form of measuring for the flour, as long as you know what that dough ball should look like. You will gradually add enough flour to get to that consistency. Exact measurements do not guarantee perfect bread because of the environment. Each kitchen may have a different environment as far as how humid it is and how dry it is. Ingredients can vary. The flour that you are using varies from place to place and brand to brand and types of flour as well. So a perfectly weighed recipe can still turn out a perfectly terrible loaf of bread. And depending on the type of bread you are making, you may want a firm dough, you may want a super soft dough, and you need to learn the difference. It's okay to open that bread machine lid and look inside and reach in there and touch that dough ball and see, is it sticky? Is it dry? Is it firm? Is it soft? And know that a well-formed dough ball, and I have videos on this, a well-formed dough ball that makes a nice round ball and is fairly smooth and is soft to the touch but not sticky, that's a good dough ball. Don't become dependent on the measurements. Understand what you are doing. Learn what a good dough ball looks like and feels like when you have success. If you check that dough ball every time and you notice how that bread turns out, make notes. Keep a little bread journal as you're learning how that dough ball looked and felt, and even take a picture if you need to. And then how did the bread turn out? Was it dense? Was it heavy? Did it rise too much? Did it sink? And then compare that to your notes and say, well, according to the troubleshooting guide, which you can get right here, I may need to decrease my liquid, or I may need to increase my flour. All of these things will help you learn how to bake a wonderful loaf of bread. Don't be afraid to adjust a recipe. If you think you need more water, then add more water. If you think you need more flour, then add more flour. No one is going to come in and write you a ticket for not following the recipe and punish you. No one is going to do that. It's your kitchen, and you are the one who is learning how to bake bread. And what you want, your goal, is a wonderful loaf of bread. Your goal should not be to follow the recipe to a T, because those are two totally different things. So I don't want to teach you how to make bread according to my recipe. I want to teach you how to make bread. So you need to observe that dough ball, make adjustments when you need to, and take notes and adjust the recipe as needed. One thing I want to cover for those people who live in countries where you do not have a cup that can measure a volume 1 cup of flour, you can use other things. If you have anything, like if you have something that has milliliters on it, 240 milliliters is 1 cup. But 240 grams of something is not 1 cup. So if you have something with milliliters on it and you're trying to use a recipe that measures in cups and you need a good starting point, then put 240 milliliters per cup of flour and start there. I hope that helps. I have tons of teaching videos teaching you how to make bread successfully, and I hope you will watch them. I'll put a link to the troubleshooting playlist here at the end of this video, and I will also put a link to the troubleshooting guide that I have, which can also be very helpful when you're learning to make bread. I also try to answer all the comments that I get. Sometimes I miss some because life can get busy. And I also receive emails. People email me questions, and sometimes they include pictures, and I try to answer those as well. So you can reach out to me. You have someone who is willing to help you learn how to make bread. So take advantage of that. Be sure you boop that like button to help me get more presence on YouTube. Share this video with others, and subscribe if you've not already done so. When you subscribe, be sure you hit the little bell to receive all notifications so you'll know when I've put out a new email. I hope you are enjoying making bread, and I hope you have a wonderful day.